people and CSMCRI dignitaries are specifically welcome from our side. And this, I believe that this type of interaction with scientific community helps a lot. Dr. Kanan Sahab and others might be very happy to know that our last webinar was widely publicized in print media also. And this is not the interaction or just brainstorming among few people, 40, 50 people, but this is only a platform. From this, the thoughts spread in all directions. So that way, this webinar is going to be very helpful. Because Mr. Trivedi has not joined, on his behalf, I welcome one and all Dr. Kanan Srinivasan, who is Director CSIR, Dr. Soumya Haldar, Principal Scientist, Dr. Arup Ghosh, Dr. Bhumiben Andaria, whom we heard in the last webinar also, and she threw a lot of light on many innovations and inventions going on in the institute. So I welcome all of them. Particularly, I request Dr. Kanan Srinivasan for the keynote address, and hopefully during his address the technical issues will be resolved and Sarita Ben and Devendra Bhai will join. Dr. Kanan साहब, आपको देख के ही मुझे इतना आनंद हो रहा है. You really have a scientific outlook, let me tell you. वो R&D मैन जो होता है ना, R&D मैन का पर्सनालिटी थोड़ा अलग होता है. ऐसा कहा जाता है कि आप किसी इंडिविजुअल को खड़ा कर दो और उनकी बॉडी लैंग्वेज से आपको पता लग जाएगा कि ये एडवोकेट है या पॉलिटिशियन है या लीडर है, या आपको देख के पता लगता है कि यू आर ए वेरी वेरी टिपिकल साइंटिस्ट. सो माय सैल्यूट्स टू यू, hats off to you. Now we are very eager.
This great compliment.
And very eager to listen to you, sir. So
yeah, sure.
Kindly, please, deliver your address.
Dr. Dheeraj Kakadia Sahab, Additional Director General, Press Information Bureau, Government Gujarat. Srimati Sarita Dalal and Devendra Trivedi, who could not join at this point of time because of some technical issues. So maybe, it will get ironed out in a couple of minutes and they will be joining soon. And I also, several, colleagues of my CSIR family, directors, scientists and science enthusiasts, and several of the faculties of teachers and faculties of schools and colleges, and students, science enthusiasts, and my dear, science fraternity friends. It is my warm pleasure to have this session on ATMANIRBHAR Bharat with the Press Information Bureau. And I sincerely, thank Dr. Dheeraj for invigorating this idea to have a kind of a session on ATMANIRBHAR Bharat along with this institute as a kind of initial prelude for the 6th India International Science Festival. Let me say a few words. India is a country of festivals. We have festivals for different reasons. We have festivals for religious reasons. We have festivals for national importance reasons. We have festivals even for different things like lights or colors. We have different kinds of festivals. And India is also a land of scientific pursuits and scientific temper since ages. Okay, we believed. Recently I was listening to some of the lectures, science-based lectures from Professor Ashutosh Sharma, Secretary, Department of Science and Technology. He was basically coining how science has grown in ages. The fundamental principles and etiquettes of science was built over ages. And this, whether it is a value of pi, or whether it is giving a value of 0, or whether it was basically doing a kind of an astronomical calculations, or whether it was in the kind of a medicine. The scientific pursuit that we have been following it was really great in terms of its implication in the mankind. when I was basically looking at it, साइंस को क्यों फेस्टिवल का रूप में माना जाता है? So I was basically looking at the internet. What are the ways by which science is celebrated across the world? Okay, and then when I was looking at it, science is celebrated in terms of days. Like for example, some countries celebrate a science days, दिवस जैसे माना जाता है, and there are certain what do you call countries celebrate as a kind of a science weeks. Certain countries as a science fairs, and few countries as science festival, and there are some countries also embrace us like us as a kind of a science festival. And except for barring a very few science festivals, okay, maybe I mean few, which are of not in what do you call embracing the international what do you call audience as well. It's not, generally it is done for a particular state, or whether it is for a particular country, or whether it is for a particular sect of people. Okay, it is always done in that manner. Whereas I mean here we could I mean this India International Science Festival is slightly unique of its kind, where I mean it embraces both India as well as the what do you call abroad, to come into a kind of a same common platform for celebrating science. So in fact, I mean, if you really see, UNESCO is celebrating its Science Day on 10th November of every year. And there are several other countries. Like, for example, I mean, World Science Festival is probably the largest festival which is conducted for science. And there is a small, what do you call, a difference that I was finding it. Okay, most of these events were what do you call conducted either in a form of a kind of a group of individuals, or a section of an academy, or a non-profit organization like NGOs, or a kind of a science-oriented organizations. And that's how these festivals are basically largely done. But India International Science Festival is exception in this regard. India International Science Festival is mooted from the government that science should be celebrated, science discoveries should be basically brought to the knowledge of the people, and science should be basically embraced in the fabric of the society. That is something which is a unique thing that I found. Although I mean we are very young in terms of celebrating festival in science, we have been doing it in a kind of a different forums, but not in a kind of a forum which is exclusively meant for a kind of a celebrating science through this India International Science Festival. Though it started, I mean, just I mean 5 years back in 2015, we had the first editions, and we are entering into a kind of a 6th edition in 2020. But what is so different about the previous edition with this edition? I mean, all the earlier editions we were having what do you call people physically visiting the what do you call the place where the events are conducted, and people what do you call interact with the scientists. People interact with the different what do you call sections of the society, and different kinds of researchers, celebrities, everybody, science celebrities. So there's a kind of a huge interactions happens on a physical world. Okay, now I mean on the 6th edition, this is the first time on a virtual world, and a celebration of international standards is conducted completely on a virtual manner. So that's a great what do you call a step that we have taken, and I'm very happy to say that Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, our parent organization, is the what you call front organization for taking the responsibility of conducting this 6th India International Science Festival, and our sister laboratory NISTADS in Delhi is responsible nodal laboratory, which is doing it along with the Vigyan Bharati, which is the largest science communicator in the country, joining their hands together in embracing the science festival, the next edition. And if I were to basically see what is the focal theme of this science festival, it's about self-reliance and global welfare. These two words are extremely powerful words. I mean, maybe I mean this time we have taken for this particular year, but if one were to basically look at it 100 years from now, okay, these two words will be remaining, and these two words would be only met through science and technology. These two words can be only be possible through science and technology interventions only. And in fact, if one were to what do you call see how science has impacted in a kind of a larger community level. I'm talking about larger community in the sense it should affect billions of people. Okay, billions of people, because such a kind of an impact. There are very few incidences where billions of people have been benefited. Of course, science is contributing on every daily routines of our life, whether the food that we take, whether the clothes that we wear, whether the houses where we shelter. Everywhere science and technology plays a kind of a critical role. But it so happens these are sometimes taken for granted. Okay, so if nobody basically understands how a pesticides are made, how an organic biostimulants are made, how silicon chips are made for digital revolutions, these are all came out of a tremendous amount of science and technology. But the impact of COVID-19 has influenced this particular year. We have witnessed science and technology has been in the tongues of every common human being. They were always asking, when can I get a kind of a good PPE kit that will basically protect me from corona? When can I get a kind of a new drug that will basically takes a kind of a security for me against the infection? When can I get a kind of a new vaccine? And these are all, in fact, RT-PCR, a word which has become a kind of a word like Google in 2020. And the word, if you ask anybody in a common PCR person, they will talk about no antigen, antibody, or RT-PCR, all those kind of words, which clearly means that how much science has basically influenced the common man significantly. And this is a time that is, science is being felt very significantly, and I'm sure that science has been contributing it in the fabric of the welfare of the mankind. And this particular session of the 6th India International Science Festival is conducted between 22nd to 25th of the December. That is this month. That is next week that we are going to have this kind of a 4-day event. And as you know, 22nd is the birthday of the famous mathematician India produced, Srinivasa Ramanujan. And the 25th is the birthday of our beloved former Prime Minister, Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and who gave a new slogan in celebrating science called as Jai Vigyan. So these dates basically symbolizes how science needs to be basically made into a kind of a festival. And I was basically thinking, why do we have to basically create these kind of a festive spirits in the community? I found there are 3 major reasons. Okay, science usually, Dr. Dheeraj was also telling, okay, by a look of a person, of course, I'm not that. There are many people who have a kind of a long beard with a kind of a unruly hair, and thinking out of the box about the science. So science is usually perceived in that. They always feel that scientists will never talk to a kind of a common man. Science, they feel that they have a shy of talking to the scientists because they may feel that my questions would be valued in a belittled manner, or they may talk in things which are not going to be easily understood by a common man. So there were kind of a hesitance and hindrances were there. And to break that jinx, these science festivals are largely conducted to see and to make them aware that what is the science research and technologies that are basically developed in the laboratories. How do they basically put forth across the common community in the language which is comprehensible, where they have no inhibition of talking to the people without having any kind of inhibition or hesitation. That's one of the fundamental reasons to communicate the science happenings in the laboratories to the common people, so that they understand, they engage, they appreciate, they value, and then they feel a kind of a support that yes, my scientists, my researchers, my technologies are doing something benefit for our common people. So that's the fundamental spirit of one of the endeavors for which these festivals are conducted. There's a second important thing as far as our country is concerned. India is a land of a lot of young population, and we have lots and lots of students and young community who wanted to be a kind of entrepreneurs, startup cultures, new companies, spin-offs. These are some of the very new words which we have heard in the last 10 years, and these ones are largely going to be governed by young India. In fact, I mean, if somebody would have listened to what Dr. Shumak Rai Chaudhary presented in the morning session, he was telling that they are building so many gadgets which is going to come between 2030 to 2040, which they are not going to use it. It is only the new young scientists who are right now in their colleges and schools are going to play on those big toys for developing some sort of a new science discoveries. So it is important to engage a large section of the people into the field of science and technology, and this is exactly the reason that for which the science festival is done. And the third important thing, which is I took this idea from Professor Dr. Anil Gupta, who is known to all of us here. He gave a kind of a complete new dimension. He said, science is being done in a kind of a manner which may not be known very. There is a kind of a traditional knowledge available, whether it is the traditional knowledge available with our farmers or with our artisan, with our fishermen, with our health workers, or with our common people. There are several sections of people who have a certain amount of traditional knowledge, which needs to be basically scientifically validated so that it reaches to a kind of a larger section of society. And that is really, really important. And unless otherwise, science believes in kind of an hypothesis which needs to be validated for a kind of a tangible outcome. And this is really possible by doing scientific validation of these traditional knowledge principles. And this science festivals provide that opportunity of connecting those kind of knowledges together in single platform, so that people would come into the similar lines of thinking. And I'm very happy to say that self-reliance, which is a kind of an ATMANIRBHAR BHARAT, is a kind of a word which basically propels all the researchers to think, how do in what way my science or my technologies, which is going to make India to be self-reliant. There's a kind of a surge, there's a kind of a huge adrenaline goes into the system. And the 3 lectures that is going to be given by my colleagues demonstrates how this institute has been contributing towards this initiative even before these words, which are basically formed in this particular year. This has been a kind of that's what I'm trying to say. Self-reliance is there for an independent India because this institute was born for the self-reliance of salt. Salt was not available in our country, and we wanted to become self-reliant in salt, and that's how this institute was born. And the science and technology, they felt, is the only way by which the self-reliance could be brought about it. And the same thing is happening for the technologies and the products and the services that are going to come in this century. So I wanted all the people who are attending this event virtually, the students, the researchers, the scholars, the teachers, the faculties, the science enthusiasts, the academy fellows, all of them, and then the press information people, please register for this event at scienceindiafest.org. And there are some 41 events are there. My colleagues, somebody will be basically talking about what this events are all about. But what is important is of these events, you can participate in any one of the events, so that you whatever which is of interest to you, so that you get yourself embraced with the science, and then be a kind of a scientific community of this nation building. So I wanted to end with the anecdote that people talk about science for the people, and I wanted to say it is a kind of an inclusive of science for the people, and this one basically from science from the people also. And I would end up with a kind of slogan of science with the people, and that's the way that we should be embracing the science. And I sincerely hope with the Press Information Bureau, this, as he rightly, Dr. Dheeraj has rightly pointed out, maybe, I mean, a couple of hundred people must be attending this event. These hundreds, a couple of hundreds, would be the brand ambassadors and what do you call, warriors for promoting the science, embrace the science discoveries for that is basically benefiting the mankind at large. Thank you very much for allowing us to share on this platform along with the Press Information Bureau on this what do you call on this platform as a prelude to India International Science Festival. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Devendra Bhai has now joined. So after his comments, I will give my thoughts. Thank you. દેવેન્દ્ર ભાઈ તમારું માઇક બંધ છે. દેવેન્દ્ર ભાઈ તમારું માઇક બંધ છે. એનીવે દેવેન્દ્રભાઈ તમે જરા ટેકનિકલી સેટ થઈ જાઓ. એ દરમિયાન મારે જ મારા વિચારો આપવાના હતા. डॉक्टर कानन साहब को सुन के मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा और उन्होंने बोला कि एक साइंटिस्ट का जो पर्सनालिटी है, जिसके बारे में परसेप्शन है कि लंबा लॉन्ग बियर्ड होना चाहिए, अनरूली हेड होता है नॉर्मली, स्लाइट बिट ऑफ एरोगेंस, लोनलीनेस लाइकिंग मैन, सर दीज ऑल आर अनसाइंटिफिक थिंकिंग अबाउट ए साइंटिस्ट. मेरा जो परसेप्शन है साइंटिस्ट के बारे में, ये मैं आपको बताता हूँ. मेरा मानना है कि साइंटिस्ट इज ऑलवेज ए हैप्पी मैन. सेकंड मेरा परसेप्शन है सर, ही इज वेरी वेरी स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड इन आउटलुक ऑल्सो एंड इज इनसाइड पर्सनैलिटी ऑल्सो. थर्ड, ही इज ऑलवेज ए मैन ऑफ रीजनिंग. किसी भी चीज के पीछे रीजन देखने की कोशिश करते हैं, जो उनकी पर्सनालिटी में आ ही जाता है. तीसरा जो मैं उसको साइंटिस्ट के बारे में सोचता हूँ, मेरे मन में जो दिमाग में इंप्रेशन है वो है, वो वितरागी होता है, एक प्रकार का वैरागी होता है. उनको ज़्यादा लोभ लालच में उनका मन नहीं लगता है. उनको जो है ना, वो एक कुछ ढूंढ निकालने के लिए जो एक मिशन में लग जाते हैं ना, तो उसमें ऑटोमेटिक वितराग पैदा हो जाता है. ही इज एक्सट्रीमली फोकस्ड. सम साइंटिस्ट फ्रेंड्स आर ऑल्सो देयर, आई एम कनेक्टेड विद देम. दे आर एक्सट्रीमली फोकस्ड ऑलवेज इन देयर लाइफ. दूसरा, वो नॉर्मली ही इज नॉट अनमूव्ड बाय इनसिग्निफिकेंट हैपनिंग्स अराउंड. नॉर्मली ये चीज एक साइंटिस्ट के लिए होती है. इसी चीज को मद्देनजर रखते हुए मैंने आपको एक साइंटिस्ट का उपमा दिया था, जो आप यू वेरी वेल डिजर्व टू इट. एनीवे, मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ मित्रों कि साइंस जो है, साइंस के बिना ह्यूमन लाइफ पॉसिबल नहीं है. पहले भी नहीं थी, अब भी नहीं है, फ्यूचर में भी नहीं होगा. इंडिया की जो एक ट्रेडिशनल स्ट्रेंथ है, वो उसकी साइंटिफिक थिंकिंग में है. चाहे वो रिलीजियन हो, चाहे वो सोसाइटी हो, चाहे वो बिजनेस हो, चाहे वो एनी अदर लाइफ हो, लेकिन उसमें एक प्रकार का जो है, उसके अंदर साइंस का, एक रीजनिंग का, साइंटिफिक थिंकिंग का बेस होता है. गांधी जी ने एक अच्छी चीज लिखी है. देखो, हम लोग क्या है, वेस्टर्न वर्ल्ड की इन्वेंशन एंड इनोवेशन पे हम लोग बहुत ज़्यादा मदार रखते हैं, उन पे ज़्यादा डिपेंड करते हैं. एक्चुअली हमारे पास ही इतनी चीज़ें पड़ी हुई है, उसको अगर अनर्थ किया जाए, हमारी टैलेंट को अगर मौका ठीक से मिले, तो यही इतनी सारी चीज़ें हैं जो यही चीज़ें फॉरेन में जाके, जैसे ब्रिटिश राज में कपड़े यहाँ से फॉरेन जाता था और थप्पा लग के आ जाता था, उसी तरह यही इसी टैलेंट अगर फॉरेन में जाती है ना, तो बहुत बड़ी उसको फेम मिलती है, नेम मिलता है. वही टैलेंट यहाँ भी पनप सकती है. तो नरेंद्र भाई मोदी साहब ने जो आत्मनिर्भरता की बात कही है, सबसे ज्यादा कानन साहब ने बड़ा राइटली ऑब्जर्व किया, अगर सबसे ज्यादा वो किसी को लागू होता है तो वो होता है साइंटिफिक कम्युनिटी को. क्योंकि साइंटिफिक इनोवेशंस के बिना, साइंस के बिना, रिसर्च के बिना, R&D के बिना हम लोग आत्मनिर्भर नहीं हो सकते. मुझे कानन साहब की वो बात बहुत अच्छी लगी कि डाउन द लाइन 100 ईयर्स के बाद भी ये सेल्फ रिलायंट इंडिया वाली जो बात है, वो हमेशा रेलेवेंट रहेगी. क्योंकि हमें अभी कोरोना टाइम ने ये सिखाया है कि हमें धीरे धीरे सेल्फ रिलायंट होना चाहिए. मित्रों, गांधी जी ने कई ऐसी चीज की थी. मैंने एक बात सुनी है यूट्यूब पे, अगर वो बात सही है तो, गांधी जी ने जब महाराष्ट्र का वर्धा आश्रम बनाया तो उन्होंने 3 कंडीशन रखी थी। एक कंडीशन रखी थी कि इस आश्रम में कोई भी चीज की जरूरत हो बनाने में, इसकी डिजाइन में बनाने में, तो 30 किलोमीटर से दूर से नहीं आनी चाहिए, नजदीक से ही आनी चाहिए। दूसरी चीज, 500 रुपये में मेरा आश्रम हो जाना चाहिए। तीसरी चीज, मेरे आश्रम में किसी भी कोने में बैठो आप तो आपको सूरज नारायण का दर्शन होना चाहिए, यानी एनवायरनमेंट फ्रेंडली होनी चाहिए। ये तीनों डिजाइन फिर महात्मा गांधी ने ही बनाई थी और वर्धा आश्रम ऐसा बना हुआ है। तो ये जो अपना आत्मनिर्भरता वाली थिंकिंग है ना, वो हमारे जहन में है। गांधी जी ने कई जगह पे ये लिखा है कि ये जो डॉक्टर है वेस्टर्न डॉक्टर, उन्होंने स्पेशली यूरोपीय वर्ड यूज किया। मैं पढ़ता हूँ, ये गांधी जी का खुद का लिखा हुआ बुक है हिंद स्वराज। इस बुक का नाम है हिंद स्वराज। उसके 65 पेज पे 2-4 लाइन में पढ़ता हूँ, बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग है। मैं विषय કર્યો, હું માંદો પડ્યો, મને ડાક્ટરે દવા આપી, હું સાજો થયો, હું ફરી વિષય નહીં કરું, કરીશ જ। बोलता है जब हम लोग बीमार हो जाते हैं ना, कुछ गलत खा के या कुछ करके, फिर डॉक्टर के पास जाता है, डॉक्टर इलाज नहीं करता है। यूरोपियन डॉक्टर की बात हो रही है, इलाज नहीं करता है, वो दबा देता है दर्द को, अंदर से जड़ से नहीं निकालता है। ने हूँ अंते निर्विषय थी सुखी था, ऐसा कुछ उन्होंने मुझे नहीं सिखाया कि मैं दोबारा ये ना करूं। इंडियन फिलोसॉफी ये सिखाती है कि हम कभी बीमारी ना पड़े और हम उसको जड़ से निकाल के फेंक दें, ऐसा यूरोपियन डॉक्टर नहीं सिखाते। फिर लिखा है गांधी जी ने, देखिए इतने महान व्यक्ति की ये वर्ड सुनिए, इस्पितालो ये पापनी जड़ है, यानी वो ऑल हॉस्पिटल्स, ये सबसे बड़ा पाप करने वाली हॉस्पिटल्स ही है। तेनाथी माणसो शरीरનું जतन ઓછું કરે છે અને અનીતિ વધારે છે। बोलते हैं वो शरीर का कम जतन करता है और अनीति को बढ़ावा देता है। क्यों? क्योंकि वो गलत तरीके से जीना आपको सिखाते हैं। आप जितना मर्जी खाओ, फिर ये टेबलेट ले लो, आपको कितना भी गैस हो जाए चिंता मत करो, यू ईट वॉट एवर यू वॉन्ट, यू टेक दिस टेबलेट। ये गलत चीजें सिखा रही है। ये जो साइंस है वो साइंस का ओरिजिन नहीं है। साइंस का ओरिजिन यही है कि रूट का थिंकिंग करो, आप मूल का थिंकिंग करो। जैसे अभी एरोप्लेन का जब भी ये संशोधन हुआ, शोध हुआ हवाई जहाज का, कई सालों पहले हमारे शास्त्रों में लिखा हुआ है। ऐसी कई चीजें, दंत चिकित्सा के लिए लिखा हुआ है, शल्य चिकित्सा के लिए लिखा हुआ है। मतलब आप कभी ये चीजों पे गौर करें तो हम आत्मनिर्भर बन सकते हैं। ये हमें एक कैपेसिटी है। आज भी हमारी साइंटिफिक कम्युनिटी है। उस दिन भूमि बहन ने भी कितनी बातें बताई थी, हम ये कर रहे हैं वो कर रहे हैं। तो ये सारी चीजें हमें अपना होने से उस पर हमारा गर्व कम हो जाता है। ये एक बड़ी दुर्भाग्य की बात है। तो हम लोग अगर हमारे साइंटिफिक कम्युनिटी की, साइंटिस्ट की इज्जत करें और उनको सही स्थान दे समाज में, उनसे हम गर्वान्वित महसूस करें, उनको हर तरह का अगर समर्थन दे, तो हम आत्मनिर्भर बन सकते हैं। और आत्मनिर्भर बनने के लिए साइंस के अलावा कोई चारा नहीं है। साइंस मतलब यही नहीं होता है कि जिसको साइंस बायोलॉजी केमिस्ट्री फिजिक्स ही साइंस है। जीवन के हर पहलू में जहां रीजन है, योग एक बड़ा साइंस है। कपड़ा कौन सा पहनना चाहिए, गांधी जी खादी के कपड़े पहनाते ताकि शरीर को जो है ऑक्सीजन मिले, वातावरण से संपर्क रहे, उससे रोग कम हो, ये एक साइंस है। तो साइंस का ऐसा थोड़ी है कि जिसको हम ये टिपिकल साइंस का रूप देते हैं वही साइंस, ऐसा नहीं है। तो हम लोगों को थोड़ा अपना ब्रॉड फ्रंटियर्स लाके काम करना पड़ेगा। और इस तरह से अगर हम करेंगे तो हम डेफिनेटली सेल्फ रिलायंट होंगे। मैं आप सबकी देवेंद्र भाई के माध्यम से क्षमा चाहूँगा कि मुझे एक मीटिंग में चलना है, तो थोड़ा मैं ज़्यादा बोलना भी चाहता था। आप सब लोगों को सुनने की मुझे बहुत इच्छा थी, बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली केवल कानन साहब को सुन के ही मुझे डिपार्ट करना पड़ेगा। आई एम वेरी सॉरी फॉर दैट, बट आई विल लुक फॉरवर्ड फॉर अदर अपॉर्चुनिटीज टू हियर ऑल ऑफ यू। यू आर एक्चुअली साइंटिस्ट, एक्चुअली वितरागी पीपल, जो संन्यास लेके समाज के कल्याण के लिए लगे हुए हैं। आप सबको एक बार और सैल्यूट करके मैं मेरी बात को यहाँ खत्म करता हूँ। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
थैंक्स अ लॉट। शायद अब मेरी आवाज सुनाई दे रही है।
या यस।
फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल सॉरी फॉर दैट, कुछ तकनीकी कारणों की वजह से प्रोग्राम को होस्ट नहीं कर पाया। थैंक्स अ लॉट। धन्यवाद करना चाहूँगा भारत सरकार के सूचना एवं प्रसारण मंत्रालय के एडिशनल डायरेक्टर जनरल डॉक्टर धीरज काकड़िया जी का, कि जिन्होंने इस वेबिनार के मंच के माध्यम से अपनी बात को यहाँ पे प्रस्तुत किया। वेबिनार को आगे बढ़ाना चाहूँगा और मैं गुजारिश करना चाहूँगा कि वेबिनार के आगे के जो वक्तव्य हैं उसमें हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हमारे साइंटिस्ट हैं वो अपनी बात को यहाँ पे प्रस्तुत करेंगे। आज हम जैसे जानते हैं कि ये जो महोत्सव है वो विज्ञान के साथ जुड़ा हुआ महोत्सव और विज्ञान की बातें हमें जाननी है, समझनी है और विज्ञान में अपनी अभिरुचि को बढ़ावा देना है। और इसी के उपलक्ष्य में आत्मनिर्भर भारत एवं विश्व कल्याण के लिए विज्ञान इस विषय को लेकर छठा भारत अंतर्राष्ट्रीय विज्ञान महोत्सव आयोजित होने वाला है। तो इसी के उपलक्ष्य में इस प्री इवेंट में आज हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए सभी वैज्ञानिकों का भी मैं तहे दिल से धन्यवाद अदा करना चाहूंगा और उनका इस वेबिनार के मंच के ऊपर स्वागत भी करना चाहूंगा। अभी मैं गुजारिश करना चाहूंगा प्रिंसिपल साइंटिस्ट के तौर पर CSIR-CSMCRI में कार्यान्वित हो रहे डॉक्टर सौम्या हल्दर जी से कि वे पोटाश के ऊपर अपनी बात को यहाँ पे प्रस्तुत करें। डॉक्टर सौम्या हल्दर।
Dr. Haldar, please unmute yourself.
Okay.
Right.
Visible screen?
Yes.
Yeah. So, today I will speak about the potash, which is, the term is small, but this particular project in last few years has done a lot of good thing for the institute, and it has solved not only one problem, it has addressed environmental issue and how environmental menace can be form a good value product. So basically the source is sugarcane. Sugarcane, Indian perspective, it is a second biggest agro-based industry after cotton. Over 50 million people and families are involved in this particular sugarcane farming. More than 700 sugar mills are available in India, and which is generating around 80,000 crores annual revenue. And there are more than 300 plus distilleries available, which produce 2.5 to 3 lakh crores annual revenue. Why sugarcane? I have explained, because the problem or the potash which is we will ultimately generating, that is basic source is this sugarcane. So basically what is happening, sugarcane farm, they are producing sugarcane and it is going to the sugar mill. Then one process is sugar, second is bagasse, and after which is remaining, that is called molasses. And this molasses is going to the distillery, and from the distillery one important product is alcohol or fuel ethanol, and the remaining things is called the distillery effluent or spent wash. All the other products are well managed, having a well managed value chain, except this distillery effluent. So why? It has a dark color, obnoxious odor, very high BOD, COD, TDS, means overall we can say environmentally it is a very, very complicated material and difficult to treat. What is doing? Just some glimpses we will present here. That is, spent was a serious threat. That some of the press release we can see that Ganga choked as sugar mill dump waste. Not only that, when this spent was is released to the environment, it is slowly percolate inside the water, and it contaminate the groundwater, and you can see the groundwater color may change and they make it unusable for the domestic purpose. So the groundwater quality is also getting affected due to industrial pollution from sugar and allied industry like distillery and paper. So it was having a huge problem that how to manage this spent waste. But spent waste, production of alcohol is also important. And if we can see this particular slide from 2007 to 2019, it has shown in slowly there is a good amount of requirement for that alcohol. And after 2016, the government has developed their ethanol blending program. So the importance for production of more alcohol become more improved. Therefore, we cannot ignore the production of alcohol. However, if alcohol produce, key issue will be the sustainable processing of entire molasses, because their bottleneck will come as a spent wash management protocol. This spent wash, there more and more alcohol will be generated and more spent wash also will be generated. So how to manage those spent wash? Basically, just we see the global scenario, spent wash management, international practice and issues. Basically, more than 90 countries in the world, they means do the cultivation of sugarcane, and there is a Brazil, India, they are the major producer of sugarcanes, and common protocol used up to date or before our technology comes for spent wash management were like fertile irrigation. However, it has a groundwater contamination problem, soil degradation problem. Then next was biomethanation. This generate a huge amount of methane and also sensitive process because here microorganisms are involved. Composting also has lot of problem, heavy leachate problem. As I show that groundwater may get contaminated and non-availability of fresh mud, and here also slow process in winter month, maybe due to the less activity of microorganism present. Therefore, the CPCB, our regulatory body for the environment, they have recommended incineration, but this is a basically burning of the material. It has a high incineration temperature, results in sublimation of potash, and due to the sublimation of potash, the instrument getting corroded very frequently, therefore increase the cost, and definitely as energy is involved, so capex is high. So therefore, just I want to say that no standard process were available which can properly manage this spent wash. So how to getting rid of this problem? CSMCRI has first evaluated that what is the production of molasses and how it can be used. There are, as you already told, 300 plus distilleries, and an approximate calculation was seen that there is a 30 to 35 billion liter of per annum of spent wash generated. It is a huge amount, and as I already told, they have, if they don't treat or they don't manage properly, it has a soil degradation, it can cause loss of agri productivity, groundwater contamination, stress on riverine ecosystem. But our scientists have seen that this is rich in potassium, and how that can only give them a good product or that wealth from this particular waste. Basically, why potassium? Why it is important? As we all know, it is an important ingredient fertilizer, improve yield and longevity of fruit and tuber. It measure and then help in crop disease and other thing. But here only the Atmanirbhar things comes, because India is nowhere in the global map for production of potash. So we are importing complete requirement of potash for our agricultural purpose. So indigenous manufacturing potash fertilizer is always a challenge, and there was a very much requirement for the country. What happened? This particular process which developed in our institute, what they did, that spent was first, in the first stage, they extract the desalted organics. This desalted organics is also an important product for as a cattle feed supplement. Next, treated spent was after this removal of desalted organics, in come as a potash is recovered. That is KNO3, which is a FCO grade potash, and it can be used directly as a fertilizer. And lean spent was, which is remaining from them, it can be, water can be recovered from this, and that water can be recycled again to the process. So this particular one chain has shown the spent wash, which was a very big environmental menace, how different type of material can be extracted, and it has a huge revenue potential. That additional, that also calculated that economics, additional income per ton of cane can be rupees 50, which was a problem for how to dispose. Now additional 50 rupees is coming, and of course for government there is a additional tax revenue of rupees 8 per ton of cane. So there is a huge societal and economic implication of this particular process development. Next, this, as I told, first product is that feed ingredient for cattle. That also, because we are a scientific institute, after anything discovery or invention, we used to check it whether it is really having a proper utilization what we are demanding. Therefore, that this was tested in a national institute, National Agriculture, National Dairy Research Institute, that how this can be used as a food supplement, and it has shown very clearly that when it compared with the natural green oats, wheat straw and other thing which is a natural food ingredient for cattle, the milk production is at par or slightly higher when you use the material removed from this spent wash. Not only that, when the biochemical study was carried out, it was shown that blood and hepatic enzymes were comparable when we compared with the other standard food. Nutrient digestibility same, milk productivity and composition also same. So deep potash venous is a safe replacement of cane molasses at a cattle feed pellet. Therefore, first product is cattle feed ingredient, and next is the potassic fertilizer. After this, the process was developed and we got the confidence about the process. This process was, there were all major stakeholders were involved to evaluate or to make knowing this process. Those include definitely the distilleries who are ultimately using the technologies. Those distilleries include from UP, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat. Even our Prime Minister office, this particular technology was presented, covering overall impact in national